going to stand to the side. We had 5 bills that were approved by the Legislative Priority Committee on this issue. Senate Bill 234 and H. Bill 749 were identical companion bills. They basically went nowhere because the Senate said they couldn't pass them. SB 10 was filed in March by Senator Paul Bettencourt. It was reduced to cities and counties only. In Harris County, there are over 400 taxing entities. This bill would have affected only somewhere around 25 at the most. There were 2 other bills that came about. One had to do with lobbyists in Washington to codify that, which we don't have and haven't had since Governor Perry. And it was to create the other one was to create a criminal penalty for legislators who become lobbyists before 2 sessions have occurred after their resignation. No bills were passed. And I will tell you this, when you cry and pound on the desk about all the bills that did not pass, that we wanted, that were conservative, if we don't pass banning taxpayer-funded lobbying, you're going to continue to see failure. We have got to get behind this bill on everything, and especially on the next priority. Welcome, Mark House, right?
This legislative session for the Family Education Relief Program was a challenge, to say the least. Our bill was submitted. Our bill was submitted on the last day that you could file, on March the 12th. The first bill through the Senate, 1968, by Senator Bettencourt, was filed about 3 to 4 hours before the deadline. The House, for May's Middleton bill, was filed about 2 minutes before the deadline. So we had quite a challenge. Then the Senate bill and the House bill were assigned to the Education Committee, and we were getting nowhere with them at all. And so what we did is we put an ad, a radio ad, over Texas. We put it in Dallas, Fort Worth, San Antonio, Austin, Houston, Midland, Odessa, Bryan, College Station. And the phones rang off the hook. And the emails flowed. And the bill got assigned and got a hearing. It was wonderful. I want to thank each and every one of you for what you've done. We're not afraid to put up the money. We wanted to make sure that this thing got heard, because school choice is a very premier issue. At the day of the hearing, there were 20 organizations that were against our bill. Let me read them. League of Women Voters, Texas Association of Community Schools, Texas Impact, Texas PTA, AFL-CIO, Bear County Education Coalition, Coalition for Public Schools, Texas Urban Council Superintendents, Dallas ISD, Fort Worth ISD, Texas Association of School Administration, and many others. And guess what? None of them showed up because the Senate was ready to take them to task for their short-sightedness on this bill. This bill is something that was so needed. The people that were for were individual family members. We had one, Dr. Grace and Timothy Horner. They had 7 children they had 7 very well-behaved children at the hearing. And as she was testifying, Dr. Horner was testifying, one of her children sneezed. And she didn't miss a beat. She says, "God bless you," and she continued on with the testimony. They were so well behaved. And this is the people that we're representing. People that want a great education for their children. But if we don't get an education for their children, we're going to lose the state. And if we lose the state, we lose the country. And if we lose the country, we lose our constitutional public. And I think my time is up. Thank you very much.
All right, we had a monument protection priority, and we had 9 bills filed to protect monuments and markers throughout Texas. And these define that monuments across the state older than 40 years would be protected from being removed by any governmental entity unless passed by the House. Additionally, there were bills specifying that the Alamo and the cenotaph would be protected. One bill even created criminal penalties for damaging monuments. 7 of these bills were in the House and 2 were in the Senate. 6 of the House bills were assigned to the Tourism Committee chaired by Ken King from the Panhandle. He did allow 4 of the bills to be heard, but then left them sitting without a vote in the committee for a number of weeks. In the final week, before the deadline, those bills were sent to the floor. And 2 of them, one protecting the historical markers across the state, and one specifying the story of Texas independence would be the focus of the Alamo, did get through the House and were sent to the Senate. The remaining 4 bills left in Ken King's committee died due to lack of action. The criminal penalties bill was assigned to Democrat Nicole Collier's committee of criminal jurisprudence. It was heard and left pending where it died. The 2 original Senate bills were assigned to the Natural Resources Committee chaired by Brian Birdwell. When asked, his staff responded that they had been told by the Lieutenant Governor that those bills would not be heard in the Senate. And these bills died in Brian Birdwell's committee. In the end, only the bill that creates civil penalties for damaging or removing historical markers, which was introduced by Representative Murr with a companion bill by Senator Buckingham, was heard and passed to the governor. So we got one. Are you satisfied?
No. Good morning, everybody. Stephen Stanley, SD2. I chaired the Constitutional Carry Committee. I could do it easily and just say, well, whatever Representative Shaker said, I'm done. But it wasn't obviously that easy. As you can see, all the red of all of the constitutional carry type bills that died in committee. After our original bill that we had supported, our committee had supported Representative Biederman's 1238, after it died in committee, luckily Chairman White, he had House Bill 1911 along with Representative Schaefer's 1927. Well, they were heard on the same day. Our SD from SD2, I mean 3, excuse me. David Covey actually testified on his way to Laredo to our last quarterly meeting at 4 o'clock in the morning on 1927. It made it out of committee. We were treading water for a while, and thanks to groups like GOA and their hundreds and thousands of contacts, groups like Texas Gun Rights that delivered 118,000 petitions to the Capitol. Joanne Fleming's group, Joanne, would you wave at everybody? Texas Grassroots. Thanks to these groups and the effort that your SREC Legislative Priorities Committee did as far as their stat reports, getting it out to, I think they said they have 5,000 contacts now in that sending out emails and stuff, that when I was down there to testify in the Senate special, the Lieutenant Governor created a special committee just to hear this one bill. I was down there and I spoke to somebody just prior to going in to testify that had some direct conversations with the Lieutenant Governor the day before and said, yes, constitutional carry is going to pass. I said, why do you think that now all of a sudden? He said they received over 10,000 phone calls into his office for constitutional carry. So, as Representative Shaker said, it was the grassroots that pushed us over the goal line. We're just waiting for the governor to sign it now. So, appreciate everybody's efforts in this process. Thank you.
Well, first of all, I want to thank Jill Glover for giving great assistance to me as a freshman who really did not know what went on at the legislature as far as procedure. But Jill, thank you very much for your leadership. As you can see up here, there are several bills that will abolish abortion. We did get the heartbeat bill, and you need to understand the importance of that one specifically is that it does not carry a criminal penalty. So therefore, it is likely to not try to be overturned by the United States Supreme Court. But it can be enforced by anybody. So if you heard of someone who had violated the heartbeat bill, like say for instance if the physician did not check for a heartbeat, you have standing to bring a lawsuit against that physician. And it's a civil penalty. The other one was the trigger bill, which says that should Roe v. Wade be overturned by the United States Supreme Court within Texas, abortions are abolished completely, except for the life of the mother. you voted today to urge 3326, which is the only bill, as my colleague says, that satisfies our legislative platform. Jill asked me to name names. I'm going to tell you who the actors are that need to be thumped. Stephanie Click, Chris Patty, and Speaker Phelan. All three of those killed these bills. So remember that when you vote.
Alrighty, my priority was child and gender modification. I want to thank, we had one absolutely amazing hero on this particular priority, and that was Representative Brian Slayton. Yes. Representative Slayton and his office staff looked at every bill that came up on the floor of the House for a vote, and they tried to figure out a way to get an amendment on that bill to protect kids from sterilization and medical mutilization in the name of trying to attempt to change a child from one sex to another, which is absolutely horrific. And I give them so much credit for doing everything they possibly could. And I will say that Speaker Phelan, every time he denied those amendments, it really told us, frankly, how the leadership felt about this particular priority, and that they were not in favor of passing that, because Representative Slayton had several amendments that were absolutely germane, and they managed to find ways to not support them. So we had two main bills, House Bill 1399 by Representative Krause, which we really appreciated, and he worked that bill. However, it got bogged down in the Public Health Committee. It also got bogged down in Calendars Committee, and it was put on the calendar too late. It was on the general calendar, not the major state. So again, it was set up to fail from the very beginning. The Senate, thanks so much. Our Senate hero was Senator Bob Hall, who worked very hard and absolutely tried to help us get this passed. Senate Bill 1311 it sat on our Speaker's desk when it came to the House, was not moved quickly enough to get to the floor for a vote, and again, it died. It is absolutely appalling to me that we did not protect children this session, and we must do it in special session.
Good morning, guys. My priority was religious freedom. As always, I thought in the United States of America, you don't need a legislation to have religious freedom, but we got that through the First Amendment, right? But here we are. So we had three major bills that came through, three of my reps and my senator, so I had to give them credit for that. HB 525 by Matt Shaheen, HB 1239 by Scott Sanford, HR 72 by Jeff Leach, and SB 26 by Senator Paxton. So we had 14 Senate bills that we adopted as a priority committee, 21 House bills, about 35 bills total. We got probably the most highest bill in the number of bills, and we got 9 bills passed through it. So what did we get? We got a suspension of laws of executive orders or laws that will force closing of for places of worship. The other one is we have supporting of prayers, including the use of word God in public gatherings and display of 10 Commandments in public educational institutions and other governmental buildings. We received SB 797 by Senator Hughes, which is about display of national motto, "In God We Trust." So we had, it's a decent priority report. Now what we didn't get, which is sad because it's one of the most common sense bills, we didn't get a conscience bill that will protect healthcare workers who doesn't want to perform abortion. We didn't get to pass to save women's sport. That didn't come through. So this is not a complete victory, but it was decent comparing to other bills, other priorities. So I wanted to recognize Tom Nobis for helping me with all the documentation. And my family members, Tommy Robinson, Naomi Navarez, Frank Lopez, Sue Evenwell, and Melissa Conway. I'm concluding this by saying one thing. Please remember the reps and senators who helped us throughout these things, and also remember who didn't, because primaries are coming up. Thank you so much.
Well, hello. I just want to, election integrity, I was the chairman of that subcommittee, and honestly, I would take the rest of the meeting time to list all the names and organizations that helped with this priority. I have never in my life seen such a unified effort under this issue in Texas. Seriously. I want to thank our phenomenal subcommittee members and awesome secretary, Gwen, and the organizations and hundreds, if not thousands, of Texans, plus the endless late nights on the phone with Dion, who was my boots on the ground in Austin since I couldn't be there this session. How many of you wrote, texted, called, emailed your Republican House member to sign on to HB 6, the Omnibus House Bill? See, look at this. Look at these hands. This is what I'm talking about. Thank you. You guys are rock stars. And we all heard what happened to that bill, what happened to SB 7. But have no fear, y'all. I know we're really disappointed that it didn't pass in the regular session. There's plenty to blame to go around. Some poor time management, some behind the scenes stuff that happened within the administration part of the process. But we're so looking forward to coming back in the special session and backing our guys up and helping them across the finish line to get election integrity reform in Texas in 2021 before the September redistricting special session, right?
Right.
We did have one bill out of 10, if you see on the chart up here. HB 574 was the only bill that was approved by our subcommittee and committee that has gone through for the governor to sign. And this bill is a creation of additional criminal offenses involving elections, making it a second-degree state felony to knowingly count ineligible votes and for not counting eligible votes. As good as that bill is, y'all, it is just a minute piece of the puzzle that we need to get the job done. And as you can see up here on this chart, Senate Bill 155 was actually killed the same way SB 7 was when the Democrats walked out. So we're looking forward to getting that one done too, hopefully. And that is my report. Thank you. So where do we go from here? Well, special session, here we come, and we expect the rest of our legislative priorities to be passed in that special session. To close things up, the Republican Party of Texas legislative priorities are so easy for me to defend and advocate for because they reflect the principles that are in our preamble and in our Republican platform principles and our plans. And those, our party platform and our principles reflect Judeo-Christian values that form the foundation of the United States of America. And you guys know that we are in a fight, and if those foundations erode, our country is going to collapse. And that's exactly what the progressive socialists are intent on doing. So I don't know about you, but I really encourage our Republican leadership in Austin and our representatives and our senators to get really serious that we are in a literal fight for our lives and the lives of our children and our grandchildren, right? I want to close with Isaiah 56:1. This is what the Lord says, maintain justice and do what is right, for my salvation is close and my righteousness will soon be revealed. We must hold Texas and hold the line.